Now let's bring in Daniel Mintz. He's campaign director for MoveOn.org. He's live also from the park. Daniel, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, Tamron.
I saw you on with Lawrence O'Donnell last night, and you helped pass around this petition and even delivered it to the mayor. This was a call to keep those people at that location. Mission accomplished. But now you have Mayor Michael Bloomberg saying the owners of the park were threatened by elected officials saying, do not attempt to stop this movement. That's a very interesting turn of events there, that you've got elected officials who got involved in this.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Mayor Bloomberg was on the wrong side here, and a lot of elected officials decided to stand with the 99% who are standing down here and protesting to say, you know, evicting them from this park is a completely unnecessary action, and, you know, they should be allowed to exercise their constitutional rights to protest.
Well, it's interesting, again, that and his quote was, my understanding is Brookfield got lots of calls from many elected officials threatening them and saying, if you don't stop this, meaning don't stop this attempt to move these people out, we'll make your life more difficult. There's been obviously a divide in support when you look at elected officials. A lot of Republicans, including those running for president, critical of this movement. You have some Democrats trying to ride the coattails of it, but people there still insisting they don't align themselves necessarily, Daniel, with one side or the other.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've seen pretty clearly that politicians of both stripes have really failed the 99% of people who are suffering under this economy, and so they're not aligning themselves. But it's great to see, you know, elected officials and regular people standing in solidarity with these protesters against the 1% who've really been benefiting from this economy that's not working for most people.
Let's talk about targeting Chase Bank here. You have on the website for this movement saying that Chase Bank sacked, in their words, 14,000 employees since receiving bailout of $94 billion. And they're saying that people should move their money to small banks, community banks, credit unions. This is a call of action, which is what a lot of people really wanted from this movement. What can you do to be involved other than stay at this park for 29 days? So will we see more of this from people involved where they call people to action?
Well, I mean, I think people down here are energized, and people all across the country are energized. They've called for a global day of action tomorrow. You know, the Chase Bank action is happening right here in New York, but there are going to be actions, as you said, all across the country and really all across the globe. We're encouraging our members to stand in solidarity with these protests. People are going to OccupyWallStreetEvents.com to find an Occupy protest near them. But, you know, it's pretty clear why they're targeting Chase Bank. This is one of these giant banks that got a huge bailout from the government, from the 99% of us. We gave them our money, and now they won't even return our phone calls. So, you know, we would be a lot better served by putting our money in small banks, small community banks that, you know, are interested in our business and not just interested in ripping us off.
And Daniel, we're almost at a month here, and there is concern that eventually this will somehow come to a head. You've got 15 people arrested today in Denver, 15 or so in New York. The people who own this park may eventually again push to have it cleaned or have people removed. How long can the protesters occupy not just Zuccotti Park, but as I mentioned, they had their tents torn down in another city. When does this move from, I guess, sitting in at the park and maybe to a different stage of the movement?
Well, I mean, you know, as you said, there's going to be a day of action tomorrow, but I think that what we're seeing is every time that they're challenged, every time that the New York police crack down, every time that there are arrests, the movement only grows stronger.
But you can't stay there forever. You cannot. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody would want to stay there forever, but you want your movement and your words and your influence heard and felt.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still sort of figuring out exactly, what the next action is, but they've called for one tomorrow, and I think you're going to see a huge amount of energy tomorrow. People are going to OccupyWallStreetEvents.com to find occupations near them. You know, how long they can stay here? Yeah. The folks here seem determined. They seem like they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, the last big protest when the unions joined in, that was on a weekday. This falls on a weekend. And to your point, people are expecting maybe massive crowds, seeing as though that it's a day off from work for a lot of people who may want to join in this movement. Daniel, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tamron.